Lately I've been looking at some of the bass lines from the Beach Boys album Pet Sounds. In the last video I did, I looked at God Only Knows, and I also looked at Sloop John B a while back, so you can check both of those out on my channel. The more I research this album, the more confusing it gets to work out actually who's playing bass on what track. Initially I thought it was Kaye playing all the electric bass parts with someone else playing some upright bass, but that's far from the real story. So I thought I'd make this video to talk through the various bass lines on Pet Sounds. I'll also show you some sections of some of the interesting bass parts that are on the album. I'll also talk through who are on the sleeve notes for the various bass parts. I've made up a PDF with the bass lines that I'll show you in this video, and also a list of the bass players on the album. You can get that by clicking the link below this video in the description, and that's a free PDF in standard notation and tab. The first track from Pet Sounds is Wouldn't It Be Nice? Now you can hear the bass in there with some pick, but it's got quite a light pick attack. It's not that kind of real clicky attack that you sometimes hear Kaye playing.
Wouldn't it be nice if we were older, then we wouldn't have to wait so long? And wouldn't it be nice to live together in the kind of world where we belong? No one's gonna make it that much.
This is the main bass line. Now Kaye is credited as playing this part, and Pohlman is down on the credits as playing Dan Electro. I'll talk a little bit more about that throughout this video. It's also got Lyle Ritz on upright bass, so he plays upright on the whole album. Upright bass doubles a lot of the bass lines throughout Pet Sounds. Sometimes it's down the octave, but often it's quite low in the mix, so you don't really know it's there, but you'd notice if it was missing. In places it actually sounds like there's just one bass. It's quite a thick tone, and that's where you'll have bass guitar and upright playing the same line.
I know perfectly well I'm not where I should be. I've been very unwell, you've been patient with me. You
Still Believe in Me is next. Kaye is credited as playing electric bass and Lyle Ritz on upright. Now the electric bass isn't that prominent in this track in the mix. It's got a more mellow sound on the bass, so I would guess that upright bass is mixed a little bit louder in this track. If you're enjoying this video, then don't forget to subscribe to my channel. You can do this by pressing the red subscribe button on the corner of the screen, and if you click the bell and select all, you'll get notified as soon as I release a new video. That's Not Me is next, and this is the only song that Brian Wilson is actually credited to playing bass on. He's down playing bass guitar and Dan Electro, and he's down as playing these as overdubs, so he's recorded them afterwards. So the Dan Electro, which is featured on this album, was introduced in 1956, and it was a 6-string bass guitar, and it found a niche in Nashville and Los Angeles for tic-tac bass lines where the electric instrument doubled the line played by an upright acoustic bass. Tic-tac bass was also used a lot in country music where it doubled the upright bass, and the guitarist called Harold Bradley was very well known for playing tic-tac on the Dan Electro 6-string bass. So in country music they recorded like this because apparently in the car you can't hear upright very clearly, so you could hear that tic-tac bass line.
I could try to be big in the eyes of the world. What matters to me is what I could be to just one girl. I'm a little bit scared.
In That's Not Me, you can hear the Dan Electro panned right, and you can hear the bass guitar kind of a little bit lower in the mix. So this is the line. Okay, so you can hear that quite clearly in the mix. Don't Talk has Carol Kaye credited for bass guitar and Lyle Ritz on upright bass. You can hear the pick part on electric bass in places, but it has quite a mellow tone to it. It hasn't got that real clicky sound. And also you can hear upright bass as well. Sounds like it's playing an octave lower.
But don't talk, put your head on my shoulder. Come close, close your eyes and be still.
So there are a few songs on Pet Sounds where the bass is kind of a little bit lower in the mix, or it's more part of the mix. It's not a really prominent sound. This is one of those tracks. So you've got those kind of tracks, and then you've got the other tracks with the kind of really prominent Dan electro or pick bass part. I'm Waiting for the Day is next. Now this has got a kind of muted pick bass guitar part that sounds like typical Carol Kaye, but she's actually credited as playing 12-string guitar on this track. Now she's a really good jazz guitarist, so that's entirely possible, and Pohlman is actually credited for this pick bass part. Lyle Ritz is credited with upright bass, and you can really hear the upright bass in some of the quieter parts of the tune.
I came along when he broke your heart. That's when you needed someone to help forget about him. I gave you love with a brand new start. That's what you needed the most to set your broken heart free. I know you cried.
So Pohlman is playing this part. Okay, so remember I've got all this on the free PDF, so you can download those and look at these little sections of the tune. Let's Go Away for a While. This is another one of the Pet Sounds tunes where bass kind of takes a little bit of a back seat. So you can hear upright, I can hear upright more. Lyle Ritz on this. Carol Kaye is credited as playing bass guitar, but that's a little bit lower down in the mix. For me, Sloop John B has the classic Carol Kaye pick bass line. It's actually her on this track. So I covered this bass line a while ago. If you click here, you can get to that, or just have a look in my channel in my iconic female bass players playlist.
We come on this Sloop John B, my grandfather and me, around Nassau town we did roam, drinking all night, got into a fight. Well, I feel so broken, I wanna go home. So hoist up the John B sail, see how the mainsail sets.
So this is part of the line that she played. I love this song. It's got a really fantastic and interesting bass line, so make sure that you look at all of that bass line. You can hear Lyle Ritz's upright in the bigger sections, and you can also kind of hear it doubled up with baritone sax as well later on in the tune. It sounds really nice, that kind of blend of instruments. God Only Knows is next. I always thought this was Carol Kaye, but she's credited for 12-string guitar, and Pohlman is credited for bass guitar. To be honest, Carol Kaye and Pohlman sound quite similar. I think they use the same setup, P bass with a pick. So when you've got those bass guitar parts, sometimes it's hard to work out who played what.
I may not always love you, but long as there are stars above you, you never need to doubt it. I'll make you so sure about it. God only knows what I'd be without you.
I'll now play you a section of the bass line from God Only Knows. It's got a very prominent pick sound on it. You can also hear upright bass as well in the mix. This has got a really nice bass line. I really like it. It goes down a lot in steps. It's got a lot of slash chords in it. So as I said, I made a lesson on that in my last video, so you can check that out by clicking the link here. I Know There's an Answer is next. It has Ray Pohlman credited for bass guitar. You can hear this. It's got a kind of fairly light pick sound, but you can hear upright bass very clearly at one point in the track.
Now how can I come on and tell them the way that...
Here today is a really interesting bass part on it. Now Ray Pohlman is credited as electric bass, not Dan Electro bass, but I think this was played on the Dan Electro. It's got a really nice sound to it. Also Lyle Ritz is on upright bass, which you can hear as well.
It starts with just a little glance now. Right away you're thinking about romance now. You know you ought to take it slower, but you just can't wait to get to know her. A brand new love affair is such a beautiful thing. But if you're not caring...
This is the opening part of the bass line played by Ray Pohlman. That's a really nice line there. You can easily play it on a P bass, so maybe it was recorded on the P bass. It's hard to tell, but I think it sounds like Dan Electro to me. I Just Wasn't Made for These Times has another really nice high bass part. This is credited to Ray Pohlman again. I think this is on Dan Electro. It's panned hard left if you listen to the track.
I keep looking for a place to fit in where I can speak my mind. And I've been trying hard to find the people that I won't leave behind. They say I got brains, but they ain't doing me no good.
It's a part that would usually be played by a rhythm guitarist. It's a nice kind of picking line. So it's a bit awkward on this bass. That's why I think it's on Dan Electro. It's a lovely line there, a really nice kind of picked line. Okay, when you look on the PDF, you see I've written it down here. Okay, and I've put the octave higher sign on it. Pet Sounds, the title track, has Kaye credited on electric bass and Lyle Ritz on upright. You can hear those parts. It's quite a mellow kind of pick sound, not that kind of classic kind of clicky pick sound, but you can hear the upright behind the bass guitar part. Caroline No, this is probably my favourite track on the album at the moment. This has Kaye credited on bass guitar and overdubs on Dan Electro. Now you can hear those overdubs, you can kind of hear them panned hard left. and Lyle Ritz is on upright bass, which you can hear as well. So that upright bass is quite prominent on this track.
Where did your long hair go? Where is the girl I used to know? How could you lose that happy glow? Oh, Caroline, no. Who took that look away? I remember how you used to say.
So that's a brief chat through the bass lines on Pet Sounds. So there are 4 bass players credited for this album. So there's Brian Wilson playing on one track. There's Kaye playing electric and Dan electro and 12-string guitar. And there's Ray Pohlman credited for bass guitar and Dan electro. And there's Lyle Ritz on upright bass. Now there is some confusion with players maintaining that they played on songs that they're not credited for. Now this is entirely possible because players would have laid down tracks in the recording studio and they might not have been used in the final mix. And it also depends on what source you look at. There's some confusion there. If you look online, you see different sources crediting different players. Also, some of these players' memories might be a little bit blurred because this was recorded years ago, okay? But it's been really fun to kind of look at that. Ultimately, it doesn't really matter, but it's fun to kind of look at these bass lines and hear the different kind of bass tracks that are on Pet Sounds. Maybe Kaye played on more tracks than she's credited for, and Ray Pohlman just played the Dano Electro parts. We'll never really know. But we know that Brian Wilson absolutely loved and respected Kaye. This is something that I found online that he said. Carol played on Good Vibrations and California Girls, and she was the star of the show. She was the greatest bass player in the world. She was way ahead of her time. Remember that you can download a list of all the bass players that are on the tracks of Pet Sounds and also my transcriptions of the sections of the bass lines that I showed you in this video. So you can get a free copy of the PDF by clicking the link below in the description. Well, I'd love to hear what you thought of this video. You might have some extra intel on the bass players. I know that some other bass players were even credited for Pet Sounds. So you might have some extra information. I'd love to hear that. Let me know what your favourite song is on there and your favourite bass line. Just let me know by leaving a comment below this video. And don't forget to help me out by liking and sharing this video and also subscribing to my channel. And if you felt you got value out of this lesson, you can always buy me a coffee. They're $5. Details on the bottom of the screen, or you can click the links below in the description. And go and check out my website, gbshed.com. I've got loads of video courses over there, books, details of my membership. You can buy some merch, some t-shirts. So that's gbshed.com. This is Greg from Greg's Space Shed. Hopefully see you very soon in the next video.